Previously on Danganronpa V2, New World Order.
Mona never set foot in the bicameral.
No, that's wrong.
What? What? I clicked that! I swear to God I clicked that.
So, Kilmore, what happens now?
Oh? I take it you're all ready to vote?
Don't say that, Zeke. She could still be innocent.
I'm sorry. Guess I must have been high as a kite when I heard her confess to the crime.
Nat confessed to the crime as well?
Is this really the sort of truth that we can accept?
It's not. No, please. It cannot be Mona. Like, I genuinely don't think it's Mona. We still have loads of evidence we haven't covered.
That's the thing with truth.
I'm going to cry if it's her, though.
It doesn't care about your feelings.
What's this? The sound of no one objected. I'm all too happy to oblige with the vote.
Blaze, you taught me to trust my instincts, to believe in the sort of person that I am. I blame you. Now, I can't just let this slide. Yes, 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 yes! There's not just a part of me that still wants to believe in Mona after what she's done. No, something is definitely wrong here. I've made up my mind. This whole thing is far from over. I have to go through this case one last time. Oh, logic dive. What's it? The closing argument. It's not. Okay, most of us think that because Mona confessed to being the Indigo Killer, she alone is guilty of Phoenix's murder. It's going to be a difficult assumption to challenge. Is she still going to die, though? Okay, time to start from the beginning. Did Phoenix die instantly? No. No, he didn't. There was an opening to interfere with the crime. Oh my god, are we saying that Phoenix killed himself to stop Mona from doing it? Phoenix should have been alive for at least a few minutes after his heart was disconnected from the rest of his body. At this point, I'm still unsure what the implications of this are or whether that will even change anything. Let me move my webcam so you can see the text, but it's a possibility I definitely can't ignore. Now let's review the facts once more. Was Phoenix actually attacked by the Indigo Killer? No. Oh, wait, no, yes he was. Wait. Okay, so he was definitely attacked by Mona then. Or maybe Phoenix already cured Mona of it? Maybe she already did it. He already did it, rather, sorry. Okay, time to start from the beginning. No, he didn't. Right. There was an opening to interfere with the kill. Right. I hate that I have to restart, though, every time I get one wrong. What the implications of this are, whether it will even change anything. It's a possibility I definitely can't ignore, and let's review the facts once more. Yes? Okay, so yes. Mona definitely attacked Phoenix. Yes, that much is undeniable. Few people know of the Indigo Killer's existence. And of these people, even fewer would possess the skill needed to sever a person's arteries in such a precise fashion. Yet, was there anything that outside Killer's MO? The stab wounds went through the heart, the wounds severing the arteries, the Killer left evidence behind. This one, I think. Yeah. That's right. The stab wound through the heart wasn't part of the Indigo Killer's MO. But while that alone is weak, It's an inconsistency. There's also the fact that the wound through the heart made with a different, much larger blade, the branched sword. Was there a reason for not simply stabbing Phoenix through the heart with the same smaller knife? Are we gonna say that Phoenix, like, killed himself to stop Mona from being the killer? Why use the branched sword now? Was there anything else that made the wound through the heart special? It's one of these two. Yeah, it wouldn't be to incapacitate him. I don't know why I had to think about that. The heart wound was fabricated by a mysterious third party. The stab through the heart... Stab through the heart, goddammit, was the only wound that could be delivered by someone without any prior knowledge or skill. All they had to do was wait until Mona left the scene. Then stab Phoenix with the sword.
It's all coming together.
So did someone else, like, take credit for the kill to stop Mona being the killer?
Now, without further ado, it's voting time!
Chottomate!
What is it now?
Everyone, I've just made a shocking realization.
Let's do this!
What if Mona isn't the culprit after all?
Such belief. But do remember that it is a power.
We have proof.
In the absence of proof.
Who said I don't have proof? I just have to run something by you, Gilmore. What would happen if, say, someone attacked someone else, then in the time the victim lay dying, a third party came along and also attacked the victim? After all, slicing someone's arteries would all but guarantee their death. However, such a death would be very protracted.
Come again?
Huh?
Just showing my shock at how good of a question it was. Now, if something like that were to happen, the title of Blackened would then be split between the two people involved in killing the victim. Assuming, of course, that each Blackened individually dealt a blow that was capable of causing death.
So Mona's not the only
That
killer!
would involve someone who, say, accidentally tripped over the victim while they were dying.
But only one person can be executed?
Yep, but if that happens, the other Blackened would be forced to stay behind as though nothing had happened. We certainly can't go around rewarding failure, can we?
That seems like a rather flimsy framework.
So
for this
basically,
type of
whoever
scenario.
attacks second is the real Blackened.
Well, my rules assume that, at any one point in time, there would only be one person bloodthirsty enough to deal a fatal blow. It seems I've underestimated you all, and for that, I sincerely
But
apologize.
the problem is, like, I now know that it's not Mona, but I genuinely don't know who the other killer is.
Of all the things that bear could apologize for.
Why would you bring this up, Natalia? Surely you don't suspect that.
There's too many inconsistencies for me to just turn a blind eye. Why would the killer break their MO by stabbing the victim through the heart? What would be the point of using a different knife to do this? And why would you disconnect the heart from the rest of the body, only to then stab it?
I don't know. I thought serial killers were supposed to be deranged.
I know this is circumstantial. There's no reason the killer couldn't have just decided to bring an extra blade along to stab the victim through the heart. But speaking from my instincts as an investigator, it just wouldn't make sense. So please, everyone, I know a few of you may still have doubts from the last trial, but I'm asking you to believe in me. Sure, we have no reason to persist with this trial now that we've confirmed Mona to be a culprit. But we have an obligation to find out the whole truth of Phoenix Kun's death. Not.
You needn't worry, Natalia. We'll be with you to the bitter end.
Your words make sense. Besides,
It depends, right? Is it whoever gets attacked first?
I do not think that Phoenix would have willingly absconded with a person carrying such a threatening sword. There were signs from the start that this crime may have been the handiwork of two different people.
Your assertions are based on circumstantial proof, Levitica. For instance, if the culprit had hidden the branched sword in the room prior to luring Phoenix there, the logic of your argument would crumble like a house of cards. But I agree. If given the opportunity, it is always better to confirm the truth.
Now, who is it?
Very well, we've come this far. It would be remiss of us not to test all opportunities in an open debate.
Thank you, everyone.
What? Did you think I'd say no? Even a bear likes spice with his dishes every once in a while.
Well, what are we waiting for? Time to find out who this other killer is.
Right, let's see. State of the victim. Right. What's higher room? There's a hole in the ground not wide enough for a person to fit through. I think it's gotta be this. It's the only thing we haven't covered. Right. Let's do this.
I must say, Natalia's theory seems doubtful at best.
It's definitely
I still think
you.
we're simply dealing with a psychotic serial killer.
I'm somewhat inclined to agree. After killing the victim, the culprit would have needed to leave the crime scene.
It's definitely
At
Florence,
which
it's
point,
gotta be.
They would surely have been spotted.
No, that's it.
Yes,
That's where it is.
For that entire period between 8 and 9 p.m., Hunt and I saw no one leave the crime scene.
Comrade Thinker speaks the truth.
But surely if Phoenix is still alive at
No,
8
higher
p.m.,
room, there were no
then
lights
that means it would be
outside.
Between 8 to 9 p.m. We're definitely missing something.
Hold on. If I can go through the evidence quickly. Higher room has built-in torches, however these remain unused as of the time of the incident. The corridor outside has no light sources. I think I might have to use the higher room and refute Sigmund.
I must say, Natalia's theory seems doubtful at best. I still think we're simply dealing with a psychotic serial killer.
I'm somewhat inclined to agree. After killing the victim, the culprit would have needed to leave
This is a
the
shot in the
crime
dark
scene.
though, so I could be
At
wrong.
which point,
No, that's wrong.
Yes, okay, got it right the first time. They wouldn't have been spotted, it was too dark, I think. Is that the logic we're using?
oh, have you identified a flaw in my line of reasoning, Natalia?
I'm afraid so. Did you say the killer would have been spotted leaving the crime scene?
I'm not so sure about that.
Yes? Does that not make sense?
Well, how about what if I told you that it was possible for the killer to attack Phoenix?
Ah,
without
okay,
ever being
that's where we were
insane,
going
and
with
all
it.
they would have needed to do is insert the blade through.
The hole in the ceiling!
That's it.
Okay, that was the other thing I was thinking of.
Everyone, I'd like you to all think back.
The
to
reason
the
why I
crime
went with that is
scene.
because it says that the hallway was, like, dark, so I'd imagine that they could have, like, slipped by, if possible. But it really, I knew something was up. I knew they had to have dropped the sword from the ceiling.
Recall that an unnatural hole had been made in the ceiling. Did anyone else not find it strange that it was directly above
I
the victim?
knew something would, I knew it would be like that.
It's obvious the ceiling didn't just crumble away. You don't mean... Yes. I think we finally figured it out. The true culprit actually made the hole for the express purpose of thrusting a sword through Phoenix's heart. All they would have needed to do is drop it from the room above.
So that's why the planks were on top of his body. He'd already been attacked at the time he was stabbed through the heart.
I think that's what Comrade Natalia has been saying all
Oh
along.
yeah, so someone else got to him first.
But then...
Oh no, oh never mind. I
how
guess
would the
Mona did
culprit
it
have
first
gotten
and
to the
then the
floor above?
culprit.
And don't even think about saying that they teleported.
I wasn't going to. There was an open window at the back of the house connecting straight to the upper floor, on the side facing away from the bicameral room. Additionally, the window was not too high off the ground. If they were able to use this window, they would have been able to enter and leave without ever being spotted by Hunt or Sigmund. And the piece of evidence they used to gain access to this window was...
What was it? The sword itself?
this right
Yeah,
here.
because it has branches. I could have climbed it.
What a problematic sword.
I'm sure the culprit would agree. First of all, the culprit used the sword as a makeshift ladder, with the branches off.
I knew that they climbed it. I knew they had to have climbed it.
It was certainly long enough, but since the branches were not designed to support the weight of a person, each of them bent downwards while the culprit was
Oh,
climbing,
okay.
leaving an obvious trail for us to find.
Virginia says problematic. I say versatile. Who knew that a simple sword could conceal so many functions?
It's gotta be you then, I think. I think it's
Escaping
Florence.
would have been a simple matter of jumping down from the same window from which they entered. It was certainly not a fatal height, and assuming your logic holds, Hunt and I would never have been able to spot that, as they would have remained on the upper floor the entire time.
Okay, we're on the home stretch here. I've shown that it's possible for a third party to have committed the crime, but in terms of identifying them... it's no use. Nothing seems to give them away.
It couldn't be. Everyone, just think carefully about this whole thing for a second. This mysterious second culprit stayed on the upper floor to commit their crime. But at the time, the upper floor... No. The entire crime scene was...
Was Miyu on the upper floor?
It was... Natalia. Did you figure it out?
Eden? Wait a second. From their vantage point, we know there must have been something. Some condition present at the crime scene that the killer would have been comfortable with. The darkness? Yes, the darkness, okay.
Natalia? Are you okay?
Is it Miyu? But why would they...
Hunt. Sigmund, I'd like to confirm something. The door to the room where Phoenix was found, was it closed at the time of the crime?
I would assume so. The door opened outwards, so we definitely would have noticed if it was open.
And you're both certain of this?
Of course, comrade.
Oh god, my heart's racing. Is it Miyu?
Then allow me to name the true culprit of this case.
If it's Miyu, I'm going to be so angry. I'm gonna check. No, oh thank god. Right. Now, Florence, is it you? You or my other suspect? Oh, it's not her! Hold on, wait, let me check the log. The door was closed. Who? I have no clue. Is it Levitica? Hold on, let me check my evidence. Where's my proof? Right. Higher room. The darkness. Does the darkness help with someone? Eden? No, it couldn't be Eden. She'd be outing herself. No. Alright. There's a bit of dialogue I must have missed somewhere. Who is it?
It can only be...
It is you!
What?
Levitica!
Why?
I do, however, unlike the first chapter, have two suspects, and I cannot tell you why these two are my suspects, because genuinely it's just shots in the dark based on really loose evidence that we got during the investigation. One of those is Florence, and the other is Levitica. And, again, I genuinely cannot tell you why I'm picking those two. But those are my two suspects. Those are the two I'm going to be keeping the closest eye on.
Why her, comrade?
Yeah. Wouldn't murder be, like, against her religion or something?
Oh, I got you!
Dear Lamb, may I ask why you think I am the second culprit?
The reasoning behind it is simple. Since the door to the crime scene was closed at the time, and the torches in the room above were unused, the whole place would have been completely dark. So dark that the ordinary person wouldn't have been able
Oh
to see
my
the
god,
Phoenix,
that's right! She said something like that, didn't
let
she?
alone aim a sword at his heart.
She said that she had really good dark
And
vision.
yet, I can openly attest to the fact that you're comfortable seeing in the dark. Not just from experience, but also using this piece of evidence.
What would that be? The third by camera room? No, not that. Why did I pick that? Piercing lantern. Yeah, I knew the lantern had to do something with it. Why did I pick that?
To me, you said it was redundant, but to most people, there was always the possibility that a source of light would be useful. Levitica, why? Why would you do this?
How foolish. The room was dark, and therefore I'm the culprit. Such flimsy reasoning is an affront to the gods.
I'll tell you this much. She really did a good job. Like, I suspected her from the beginning, but, like, I didn't have a good reason for it. And this whole trial, she's done really well keeping herself in check. I was really beginning to think it might be Florence because of how much Florence was refuting me. But no, it was you, okay.
Natalia made a good point, though. I doubt anyone else could see in the dark as well as you can.
But the possibility exists, does it not?
I've also sensed a change in your temperament recently, Levitica. Usually, you're so fond of those whispers of yours, and yet, you failed to mention them even once during this trial.
Thank God I don't love you as much! Even now, part of me refuses to believe it. A large part of me. But this is where my intuition has taken me. If Mona had died in her place, I would have been so angry. Mona might still die. I have to learn to trust my own instincts. It's the final stretch. I can't let up now. Right, what was it? The 4th by camera room is the only one we haven't used yet.
Allow me to begin by first proclaiming my innocence. From 7 to 9 p.m., I stayed away from the scene of the murder. Therefore, I did not have the opportunity to kill.
But the room was completely dark at the time of the crime. Who else could have stabbed Phoenix after Mona left, if not
That
you?
conclusion was based on nothing but a series of assumptions. It remains possible that the person who stabbed Phoenix through the heart and the person who severed his arteries are one and the same. You have nothing tying me to the crime in any way.
I think
Nothing
it might be
at
the
all.
4th by camera room. Right, let's see. I will admit though, honestly, Levitica was seriously starting to, get better. Right, yeah, it's the 4th by camera room, and it's what she said when we had nothing to connect her. We never found out who the 4th by camera room belonged to. It's
Allow
got to
me
be
begin
her.
by first proclaiming my innocence. From 7 to 9 p.m., I stayed away from the scene of the murder. Therefore, I did not have the opportunity to kill.
But the room was completely dark at the time of the crime. Who else could have stabbed Phoenix after Mona left, if not
That
you?
conclusion was based on nothing but a series of assumptions. It remains possible that the person who stabbed through the heart and the person who severed his arteries are one and the same. You have nothing tying...
No, that's wrong!
Yeah, here we go. Now let's find out the truth about that room as well. I want to know what her motive was, though, as well, to actually interfere.
Levitica, I thought there was something wrong about the 4th bicameral room. I felt no connection to it whatsoever. And now, I think I know why. It was yours, isn't it?
Hers? Don't be ridiculous, comrade. She never set foot in the room.
She didn't. But this did.
What did? The lantern?
Here it is.
Yeah, the lantern went in there.
Levitica Chan's lantern. I carried it in front of me as I entered.
But then, this would mean the rooms are activated by...
Perhaps not. Who can say?
Assuming in all likelihood that it is her room, I think the connection becomes a bit clearer. Your crime, Levitica. The room put it on full display, especially since we know now the likely mechanics of the murder.
Wait, hold on a second. Let me check it. Oh, I see. I see. Right.
There's too many coincidences for it to be dismissed as mere happenstance at this point.
Wait, is this a reference to the previous killing game? As I recall, the first murder was based wholly around the symbolic imitation of a speech.
It certainly looks to be the case.
So the darkness of the clouds was supposed to represent the state of the crime?
I think so. And by that same token, the beam extending downwards is probably supposed to represent the sword.
Which
That's a bit of a
means
stretch.
the house was Phoenix himself.
Symbolism, dear lad. Is that the full extent of your evidence? I would dispute Sigmund's claim, not mere happenstance. All of the evidence you have provided against me epitomizes the term happenstance.
She's right. We need something else. Something concrete.
Blood.
Huh?
There was blood on the sword, wasn't there? But not on the tip.
Yes?
You know how the sword was used now.
The blood.
Tell me, dear lad, how well do you think you know me? Why don't we put that knowledge to the test?
Rebuttal showdown. Here we go.
darkness and symbolism. Is that truly the extent of the evidence you have against me?
Let me click it! There you go.
I'm sorry, dear lamb, but I'm going to have to demand some concrete evidence. After all, you and I both know this isn't something I am capable of.
Great, please help me understand. Can you prove it wasn't you? No. No, it's not technically offensive. Please help me understand.
To the converted, Levitica-chan.
Natalia!
Of course I know it's something that you wouldn't do. If you had the choice. So, please, help me understand. If I prove that you're the culprit, can you promise me...
This is
that
getting
you'll
dramatic,
explain yourself?
actually. I'm getting goosebumps. Do I slash you? Yep.
The blood on the sword. All we need to do is think back to how the sword was used, and the truth becomes clear. It's over, Levitica-chan. All we need to do is take a look at your...
Foot. Why didn't we do that with Mona then, when, like, Pierce was scratching
You are
her?
very perceptive, dear lamb. To think that someone like you may one day shoulder the burden of the world's law enforcement. Clearly no criminal will be safe from your prying eyes. Very well. Walking around proclaiming blasphemy and lies, that was just not the sort of person that I am. I can only hope that the gods forgive me for this.
Levitica? Why would you do something like this? I always saw you as nothing less than a kind-hearted person, Levitica.
I am confused. Why did she do it?
Always there for me when I needed it. There's just no way that all of that was a lie.
Oh, what the heck? How are we even supposed to vote?
Well, we could.
Split the votes.
Agreed.
But...
Only one person will be executed.
But they're...
Well, Kilmore, what about them? Do they still need to vote?
Given the special set of circumstances, I'll show mercy and allow Levitica and Mona to abstain. They've earned a nice long rest.
Are they both
after
gonna
all
die?
this. At least, one of them has.
Then, let's keep it straightforward. Forget about the moral quandary of choosing who to execute. Everyone on the right side of the hall, vote for Levitica. And everyone on the left side, vote for Mona.
It's finally time. For the benefit of everyone, I have to piece together the events of this case and bring the whole thing to an end. Started with the culprit going to the bicameral room. Damn it! Receiving a letter. When arriving at the bicameral room, the culprit immediately lured Hunt away. First, culprit A left the scene. Hold on. Second, no, I did it wrong, didn't I? Right. First, right, culprit B, alright, follow culprit A to the scene. Second, victim is attacked by culprit A. Culprit A left the scene. Fourth, culprit B creates a hole in the ceiling. Victim attacked by culprit B. Finally, culprit B left the scene. Oh, that was right. Good. Alright. Alright. Read the closing statements.
This whole incident started the day before the murder, when Mona received a mysterious letter under threat of blackmail. She was coerced into visiting the bicameral room, where, in her words, everything went black. We can safely assume that, at this point, she was knocked unconscious, then pushed into
What
the
I'm confused
camera.
about is, if Mona dies, what's the point of even voting for Levitica?
Where she
What was the
exposed to
point?
kill code. Upon regaining consciousness,
What was the point of even
she
exposing
immediately
Levitica in the
realized
first
what had
place
happened.
if Mona's gonna be the one voted anyway?
Additionally, she knew she had until the next evening to safeguard everyone from the danger that she knew she presented. That's why, the very next day, she refused to enter the bicameral room with everyone else, and instead sought to set up a mechanism which would effectively, but safely, trap her in her own room. However, at some point, the mechanism was rendered useless, allowing her to escape. As a result, when night fell, Mona was able to leave her room, not as Mona, but as the newly reactivated Indigo Killer, a shadow of herself, programmed with a single-minded desire to rob someone of their life. Making her way to the bicameral room, the Indigo Killer sought to isolate someone to kill. She found such a victim in Phoenix, who was standing guard over the bicameral room at the time. To separate Hunt and Phoenix, she created the noise that Hunt described, which, in reality, was a distraction to ensure that Phoenix would be left alone in the bicameral room. Since Mona's presence could be easily excused by the fact that she was to set up a surveillance system monitoring the area, Phoenix thought nothing of Mona's request for help and willingly obliged. This was the final mistake that he would make. Once isolated, she struck repeatedly and mercilessly, stabbing him 3 times with such speed that he could do little but scratch at his assailant. As he collapsed to the ground, his arteries severed. With Phoenix mortally wounded and Hunt still distracted, the Indigo Killer left the scene and disposed of the weapon. However, this is where things get a little more complicated. At the same time, the culprit, who sensed that something was amiss about Mona, had followed her to the medieval world.
Oh my god, wait, hang on, now that I'm thinking about it, are we saying that Levitica— whoops, I knocked something over. Are we saying that Levitica killed Phoenix or stabbed Phoenix so that she would take the blame for the crime instead of Mona? If so, wow.
There, she noticed Mona walking with Phoenix to the building across from the bicameral room.
She might have just gotten a shred of sympathy back.
Thinking that she would be spotted if she entered the same way, she removed a sword from the throne room, intending to use it as a ladder, with the branches as rungs. However, while climbing, she caught her foot on a branch. This was how one of the branches towards the tip came to be stained with blood that wasn't Phoenix's. At this point, it is likely that she was at least aware of the terrifying scene that was unfolding directly beneath her. Removing the floorboards to create an opening, she thrust the branched sword through the hole, striking Phoenix in the heart. Though both rooms were pitch black at the time, this was no impediment to the culprits, who could effectively see in the dark. With her crime complete, the culprit simply jumped from the same window she had used to
I guess it
enter
wasn't that
before
high.
absconding the area altogether. The reason she chose to stab Phoenix is unknown, but we know that this is what happened. And now we come to the dilemma. That's right, Mona-chan and Levitica-chan. Both of you are the Blackened.
Wow. Whoa! Oh my god, that was crazy. See. I'm so bad at this game.
It seems the votes are in.
Right. I'm willing to bet that Levitica's motivation was to stop Mona from being the Blackened somehow.
And you've decided correctly. The person who blackened their soul with the taint of murder was none other than Levitica, the ultimate missionary. And what's this? It was decided by a majority.
A majority?
But that means... Levitica, why would you do that?
Oh, she voted for herself.
You should have let Kilmore decide.
Levitica-chan, say something.
Very well. Allow me to start from the beginning. Originally, I had planned to spend this evening alone, to commune with the gods in accordance with my usual routine, but the Whispers sensed that something was amiss. Such is what happened when Mona and I passed briefly in the hall. She had a faraway look in her eyes. one that chilled me to the bone. And when I greeted her, she failed to respond.
She saved her. Oh crap. Now I'm gonna cry. Oh god. This is the problem, right? Every single one of these characters is fucking great. Like, seriously. This is one of the best fangans ever, and the characters are a massive part of why. They're all fantastic.
So, you followed her?
That is correct. Her journey took her all the way to medieval world, and that's when she conversed with Phoenix. It seemed ordinary at the time, but it was then that I noticed that he was alone with her, and that they were both walking away from the bicameral world. That's when I knew I had to be prepared to defend myself.
And that's when you grabbed the sword from the throne room?
Also correct, dear lad. It was big and unwieldy, but it was also the only thing I could think of at the time, as experience dictated. I planned to wield it as a weapon if the situation so demanded. I also identified that the sword could be used as a makeshift ladder. That way I would not have to walk through the front door if Mona was lying in wait, and it would remove the possibility of being seen by prying eyes. Yet before I was able to reach the window, I heard a muffled scream. In my haste, I proceeded to catch my foot on one of the branches. It was not long before I came to know the truth of what had transpired. Yes, it was dark, but for someone who lived in darkness as a child, that was no impediment.
So you're saying that by the time you returned to the scene, Mona had already attacked Phoenix?
But that still doesn't explain why you'd stab Phoenix through the heart.
To take the Blacken.
She was already going to die.
Is it not obvious?
Because if Phoenix had died there, Mona would have been the killer.
Mona's brutal attack was not emblematic of her character. Even the most blind man could see that, and that is why I did it.
Bullshit. If that's really true, then why didn't you just confess right away? Why make us go through this whole farce of a trial?
A good question. We humans can be such temperamental vessels. When the thought of dying finally became a reality in my mind, I could feel a coldness the likes of which I had never experienced before. The air around me froze, and every time the thought of a confession crossed my mind, my mouth would move, but no words would escape. I suppose the ordinary person would call it fear, the fear of death, that when my soul has abandoned this earthly plane,
understandably,
I would leave behind nothing but regret.
Oh god, this is a real Gundam situation.
Is it not laughable? I may call
These
myself
really
a
get
missionary,
me.
but as an emissary of the gods, I am nothing more than a coward. A pathetic little thing, afraid of the judgment that lies beyond.
You and I both know that's false. You're
My
far
heart's
from
racing.
pathetic. During this trial, you had multiple openings to
Yeah,
divert
you
the
were
blame
really
back to
quiet.
me, but you took none of them. Even at the end, the evidence remained inconclusive. We had no way of proving that your foot wound came from the sword. No. You never saw this trial as an opportunity to escape.
It is true that I hope to be delivered back onto the path of righteousness, to atone for the sins of the past, and to rediscover my resolve anew. Whether this has actually happened will be a matter for the gods alone to determine. Even now, the whispers remain silent as to my fate.
All of this happened because of me. Why, Levitica? Why would you do so much? And you barely even know me.
That is patently false, dear lamb. In fact, I'm intimately acquainted with each and every one of you. Of course, that includes you, Mona, that other half. This long-departed relative of yours. Please let her live on. For even in death, our essence persists in those who still draw breath.
First Magnus and Blaze, now you and Phoenix. None of you are bad people. So why? Why does this keep happening?
This is it is really interesting when you have a killing game that is made, like, purely of people who are, like, completely innocent. Like, would never kill, and then you just see how they exploit their weaknesses. This is kind of how I saw it in Danganronpa 2. Because I don't know if anyone has ever noticed this, right? But unlike the characters from V3 and 1, every character who kills in Danganronpa 2 has what I think is a, like, morally and justifiable reason for what they did, right? Because if we go through the list, right? Teru like, gave him to, like, desperation, and, even though he did it for two main reasons. One, he thought Nagito was going to kill, so he tried to stop him, and also because he was desperate to see his sick mother again, and I can't really blame him for that. Peko did it as a result of a misunderstanding and wanting to protect Fuyuhiko from becoming a Black Hand, which is why she killed Mahiru. Mikan was out of control. Like, I know we all give Mikan crap for, like, being a complete psycho, and maybe there are elements of that in her actual character, but the only reason that she killed in the end was because of the despair disease reverting her back to her ultimate despair form. Because Mikan in Danganronpa 2 is still just Mikan, even with that little bit of psychoticness in her. It's still just Mikan, and it was only the despair disease that caused her to actually snap and kill. Gundam I've ranted about before. Basically, he did it so he could free everyone from the funhouse, and Nekomaru agreed to that. And then Chiaki just got unlucky. Like, from being the traitor. It was all... Case 5 was Nagito's fault, not Chiaki's. So everyone had a good enough reason in that. And in this case, it's even more... It's even more like that, right? Because Blaze and Levitica killed pretty much for the same reason. Like, for sort of altering reasons, but for the same one, which is that they just wanted to, like, protect everyone else. And Blaze's was a misunderstanding, much like Peko's was. And this one, Levitica did... I don't know if anyone has ever actually seen Danganronpa Another 2, or the Another series. Game 1, Case 2 of the Another series with Ayame is pretty much the exact same thing. But yeah.
It's just too sad.
It is, yeah.
I am sorry I cannot offer you guidance at this trying time, dear lad.
You know, Levitica, I suspected I was wrong about you, but now I'm certain you're a far better person than I could ever be. To think it would take until now for me to see into your mind. It truly is a beautiful, vibrant thing.
Do not undervalue yourself, dear lad.
Oh god, that voice acting got me. Oh god, that was some great voice acting.
You may dabble in the occult, but as long as you do so with a good heart, is that not all that matters in the end?
Comrade, you saved Mona's life. Whatever your methods may have been, it is clear you had good intentions.
Good intention? Yes, I saved a life by consorting to take another one to save through murder. Can such a thing ever be justified as the product of a good heart?
Okay, I've heard enough. Levitica, you and I both know they haven't stopped. These whispers of yours, you've been blocking them out this whole time. So just quit lying to yourself already.
Perhaps you are right. If I concentrate hard enough, I can almost hear the call, almost. The path ahead for all of you will be difficult, but I know you can persevere.
I genuinely wasn't expecting Levitica to be such a sympathetic character as well. I genuinely thought that, like, she was on my, like, list of predicted killers, so I knew she would probably be a killer at some point, but I didn't expect for it to be such a sympathetic reason. I thought she would, like, kill for the sake of, like, her god or something.
This is why
this is much better.
To lead the world. The gods may be mysterious, but everything is by their design. I hope you don't ever forget this. Just as I won't forget any of you.
Love you, Chan.
Thank you, Natalia. I found our discussions, few as they were, to be enlightening. It was truly a pleasure to have been graced by your company.
You tried to find the right words, but nothing came out. Slowly the world around you swelled into darkness. Vaguely you could hear a mix of words both cruel and horrified.
Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time!
Is this going to be animated? No! Almost immediately after he finishes speaking, the trial room was plunged into pitch darkness. Or not. Grace ended the last trial with a no as well. Shortly after, a screen flickered into life in the distance. On it was Levitica, staff in hand, surrounded by a circle of armored soldiers, each holding a sword that pointed directly ahead. Letters flashed across the screen, writing out the phrase, "Convert to red." A low chiming noise pierced the silence as Levitica raised the staff into the air, swinging it back and forth while squeezing her eyes shut. As this was happening, the swords drew closer ever closer as the soldiers moved forward in formation one step at a time. Slowly the color of the soldiers' armor shimmered in the light, flickering repeatedly between the original black and a new crisp shade of white. When their armor was in this new shade, the soldiers would stop until inevitably the original color reappeared and they continued moving forward once more. Without opening her eyes, Levitica tossed aside the staff and knelt to the floor, hands clasped together in prayer. Just before disappearing under the mass of soldiers, she turned her head to the screen, lips parted in a wry smile. And not a second later she was pierced simultaneously by swords from every direction.
No.
Oh, jeez. Stop being good voice actors. This is making it worse.
That was too cruel.
Man, oh man, you guys never fail to impress, don't ya? From the moment you were guaranteed to get the answer correct, this should have been boring. But nope, not at all.
Do you need any help, Mona?
I'll be fine.
She needs a lot of help.
Unforgivable. And here I was, thinking you'd stay true to your creed. You heard right. Do you think we forgot about the note? Someone must have written it to lure Mona to the bicameral room. And that person wasn't Levitica.
Are you sure about that?
Now I'm certain. Well, was it you who put this whole chain of events into motion?
I don't think it was Monokuma.
I may be underhanded, but I'm not that underhanded.
Monokuma definitely would do things like write a fake suicide note, for instance, but that's to like meddle with a murder and sort of like make a mystery more interesting. I don't think he would try to start one beyond introducing a motive. Like, he never did that with Toko or Peko or anything like that, so...
You're looking at the wrong place.
So, who was the traitor? They knew about Mona's condition and wrote her that letter, with intention of exposing her to the kill code.
Who the hell is the traitor?
And on that topic, someone disabled Mona's mechanism to keep herself locked in her room. They really went out of their way to make sure she'd become a culprit.
Geez, Mona. You must have seriously pissed someone off.
That sure seems to be the case, doesn't it?
Come to think of it, this is the first actual proof we have that the traitor not only exists, but they're trying to kill us.
And in this case, it was more
Yeah,
than
they
just a
succeeded,
try.
dude.
Thanks to their plans, we just lost 2 more members of our batch.
But what about the vote we just had? If they really wanted to kill Mona that badly, couldn't they have, you know?
There are 3 possible explanations for this. 1. They were already designated to vote for Mona, meaning they had no means of influencing the outcome. 2. They were designed to vote for Levitica and voted in obedience to this instruction. If this is the case, it is likely they did so to avoid narrowing the suspect pool by half. And 3. They were not designated to vote for Mona, but did so anyway. However, since Levitica was just executed by majority, other than Levitica herself, someone else who was not designated to vote for her must have done so. In effect, they would have needed to anticipate that the traitor would vote in such a way. Of course, the third option is by far the least likely of the 3.
Interesting. Well, just something to keep in mind.
Sorry, I just need to think about that. And this trial isn't our only source of unresolved questions. Just who is this game master from a few days ago? How did they know a murder was going to happen?
Enough of this serious stuff, Zeke. You may act all scum-like, but you're a real softie, aren't you?
I have no idea where you got that impression from.
Isn't it obvious? That thing you said to Levitica about the whispers. You didn't have to, but you still did.
Don't get the wrong idea. I fight for excitement and truth, not for sappiness. You guys already have that in spades. Well, if none of you are going to get in, guess I'll just leave without you.
Don't you dare!
This just in. It appears our reporter has been gravely underestimated.
As you hop back into the elevator, a heavy cloud of questions continue to hang over your head. Just who was it that tried so desperately to turn Mona into the Blackened? Were they and the Game Master the same person? How many other unknown forces were operating behind the scenes? At that time, you had no way of knowing that the events which had just transpired were merely a prelude to the horrifying circumstances which would soon follow. Oh, there we go. End. 13 left.
Danganronpa.
Oh, fuck this game. Oh god, I love this game so much. Alright. Anyway, this is going to be the last video that we get on Dangan Fanfic for a while now. I'm not going to be uploading any more episodes of this series until the Chapter 3 trial comes out, because I want to be able to play all of Chapter 3 when it comes out, not just up to like the end of the daily life. I want to find out and play, and oh my god, that was such a good trial. Like, genuinely, that really got my emotions. It was so well crafted. It really gave me goosebumps. It played with my emotions perfectly. I felt massively for the characters in it, both the victim and Mona and Levitica and everyone involved in that. I was so immersed. Dangan Fanfic writers, I know that you probably watch my videos even if you don't comment on them. I know you commented on like my first after I finished playing the first chapter. I'm not expecting that you're like watching these videos, but if you are, I just want you to know right now, you guys are fantastic. Please keep doing this. It is genuinely one of the best Danganronpa fan projects I've ever played. You guys are masters at character writing and storytelling, and I don't know why I haven't seen more of your content out there. Even outside of the Danganronpa formula, I would love to see you do more stuff, because you guys are fucking phenomenal. Really, you are. In any case, that's going to be it for this episode. I did the trial in one sitting, like I said. It will probably be more than one episode, though. And until that time comes, I will see you all in the next video. So long. Farewell.
Could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. People like sheep move